Good morning and welcome. We are on day 4 of our Well and Happy reset. So I just wanted to take a moment, take a breath, and thank you for showing up. If you're watching live or if you are watching the recordings, I've made some notes. And I like to refer to notes. So I shall. All right, my name is Lisa. My life has been messy and mindful, and that is exactly what informs my work. Through Well and Happy, through the Academy of Learning, the Educator's Edge, I help adults learn, lead, and teach with care, curiosity, and belonging at the heart of all. I've actually been spending some time looking at my philosophy and trying to put words to it. So it is still a work in progress. And I guess that's what a philosophy is. So we're on day 4. We started with coming home to what matters, looking at our values as anchors in day 1, noticing with gratitude. Day 2 was playing with our creativity, looking at imagining forward, but doing it gently, using vision as a listening tool. And then, looking at a future without the pressure of having to succeed. I'm sure that's important. The kookaburras are laughing. Good morning, Teresa. Day 3 was intention, attention, and focusing on ease, how learning can change, but actually stick as well. Now, day 4, today is an important day. Obviously an important day. Can you hear the kookaburras? Understanding the why beneath the why. What we're talking about here is, what's motivating us? Why do we do the things we do? And if we can realign that with our values, with our anchors, how is that going to change what's important to us and how we show up? We want to make meaning with compassion, which means we've got to let go of that critical judge who is sometimes in our head playing with what we think of ourselves, what we think of our abilities, and how that influences the choices that we make. So absorb that for a minute. Let's just take a moment and breathe that in. And let's just become aware of our surroundings, of our body, our breath. Know that we have nothing to solve. We just need to listen and respond. And we know that what we do is shaped by our values, our gratitude, but it's also shaped by what we fear and what we love. All right, so in your workbook, there's a Well and Happy ReSET quiz. There's reflection points, and there's, course material for each day, if you want to call it course material. But day 4, this is where we're up to, understanding the why. Allowing our curiosity to guide us rather than self-judgment. So as we arrive in this place, let's understand that one of our tools to a well and happy life is looking at life curiously, looking at ourselves curiously as well. And just listen, thinking well, living happy. That's today's ideal. and understanding that much of what we do is shaped by the values and our desires we don't name. Can you think of a choice of our why beneath the choices? You know, it might be our upbringing. It might be, I don't know, we talk about intergenerational trauma in this day and age. And another way of looking at that is intergenerational fear. And when we look back to our ancestors and the environment that they lived in, they needed that fear for survival. Today, it's different. And yet we still hold on to grandmother's recipes of fear and how to live. So sometimes it becomes so deeply informed by our family and our experiences that awareness is not there of how life could be different. So we're not going about digging for our flaws. We're not going about, to really blame and shame anybody or anything. It's just about being curious, being interested with care. So there's a space in your workbook, to spend a quiet moment and think about what your ideas are today and where they came from. When we go back to day 2, where we looked at the visioning, the reflection is asking us to choose one part that is meaningful, a feeling, a moment, a relationship, a way of being, and to write about that. What is that relationship and why is it meaningful? And then follow the why. So think about that circumstance and just keep asking, and why was that? And why? And why? And why? And you get down to different things that were important. When you can not overthink the explanation you're giving yourself as to why, you don't have to ponder on this for a long time, but just keep asking, and why? Write the first thing down that comes into your mind, and why. You don't want to force an answer. Just do it for as long as you want or need, and then just ask one more time. Why does this matter to me? And what the magic source is in this questioning is noticing the feeling that sits beneath your words. What is the feeling underpinning all this, and why? We are trying to remove those old stories of shoulds. Last night, I went to the theatre and watched a Rocky Horror Picture Show. Everybody knows the songs, everybody knows the scripts, people were dressed up. It was such a fun night. However, the microphones didn't work in the first part, so it was really difficult to listen to what was going on. During the first break, there were people lined up, at the ticket office demanding a refund. And, it was disappointing. It was difficult to sit through it, and you come with anticipation and excitement, and then you feel a little bit let down, And I know the thought crossed my mind, God, do I want to be here? Maybe there's something else I can be doing, which would be more fun. But we went out for the break. People were enjoying themselves. people were dressed up and in character. It was fun to be around that energy. And when we got back in, the microphone system improved throughout the night. We got up and danced. We met new friends, and it was just a beautiful experience, and one that I was actually really pleased that I could sit with and look beneath the surface level of what was going on. And this is what this activity is asking us to do. Let's go beneath the fact that the sound is not working properly, that, there's been a mishap somewhere. And what is beneath it? It was the connection. It was, connection to happy memories. We've all seen the movies, seen other stage plays. We all know the songs, And it was just, it was good. It was a really good night. And it was a really powerful lesson in understanding that our awareness is not always, in your face. It's hidden. It's underneath. So the second reflection comes in putting a name to the deeper value. The feeling I notice most clearly is, what is it? What is it? Are you feeling restricted? Are you feeling expansive? Are you feeling happiness? Are you feeling safe? Are you feeling, what are you feeling? When we can name our feelings, we disempower them in the sense that it's not a power over us. Like, we can work with it. Not, and the feeling doesn't have a power over us. We have a feeling with it. So other examples I've got in the book are ease, belonging, creativity, security, contribution, calm, connection. We don't need to get this right. We just need to name the feeling that's underneath the values. And then we're looking at an integration practice. So this is where we are bringing our awareness to the surface so that we can think well and living happy, thinking well, living happy. And we are co-contributors, co-creators really in building our awareness. I do believe that awareness is a choice. So once we take a moment and sort of identify, bring to our awareness where this value shows up, and where you wish it could be, we can move forward and create the space for choice. A space for choice is a space for change. So where is that showing up in your world? Yeah. Gabrielle Brennard, I've got a quote for you. She said, our way of being brings about either suffering or fear, or just more surrendering into love. As a student in A Course in Miracles, as Gail Brannon is, as well as myself, when we get down to the core, our choices are fear or love. And yeah, where are your values, your reactions, your self-judgment coming from? If we can let go of that judgment and approach it as a curiosity, this changes our perception. And when our perception is really, really important. And when we can change that, it changes the way we see the world. And we change that when we look at what influences our perception, the language that we use becomes really important. Are you self-critical? And sometimes society has encouraged us to be very critical with the language that we use about ourselves. I can't, I won't, I'm not good enough. Can we change that to a language of possibility? A possibility is infinite. It's ever evolving. It's expansive. And this language influences our thinking. And we want to train our thinking to be kind and compassionate and expansive. This is why they say that sarcasm is the lowest form of humor, because it's dragging us down. Imagine if we could embrace humor that actually built people up. Confabulation. When we look at that glass, I think as a younger person, I was very pessimistic. My mindset was very about how terrible change was and, how bad people were. But I think at my core, it didn't align with me. I think I am at my core a very optimistic person, and I like to see the good, and I like to go on adventures that expand my mind and my possibility. Um, when we look at a glass, and we say, are you a glass half full or a glass half empty type of person? Are you looking at the world through the lens of love, where we're like, wow, it's half empty, so I've still got, or it's half full, so I've still got more to go, or it's half empty, the pessimistic view. And so I'll have to be really mindful about not wasting it and using it appropriately and scrimp and save. Have you got a space to go and journeys to learn? Or are you, oh my God, I've only got half left? It's such a powerful and simple lesson, isn't it? And it's, sometimes, I think on the whole, I'm more optimistic, but sometimes I'm pessimistic. But with my awareness, I'm able to identify that. And now with my decade of the Course in Miracles training, I'm very careful of what I tell myself and what I tell my body. I just won't accept negativity anymore. I think I've had enough of that. So what is that space above, that part of potentiality, some people call it. Some people might call it Gus, which stands for God, Universe, Spirit. And I like Gus because it's just a way of looking at something bigger than ourselves that we don't understand. I don't know what it is, but it's the ultimate truth. It's possibly something that, on this human journey we'll never get to understand. But if we want to learn more, we've got to be kind to ourselves. We've got to be worthy of ourselves and understand that we are worthy of ourselves. And let go of that fear-based thinking, which is essentially what it is. I know one of the Buddhist sayings that I really like is that when we come to enlightenment, so when we come to this place of knowing so much and we are the teacher and we are, what do we do next? And the Buddha teaches that we go and chop wood and cart water. We go back to doing what we always do. So what are our take-home lessons? I think it's about remembering that there's nothing here that needs fixing. Understanding brings softness. Softness brings freedom. And that we are learning how to be with yourself. And it really, really matters. Your authenticity, your alignment, this is your transformation. This is your journey. So brings us to, the conclusion of this lesson. I really invite you to go and spend some time journaling, thinking, going for a walk in nature, whatever it is that you do, to, ground yourself and be aligned. Be curious about how you can be kinder to yourself in what you do to yourself, what you say about yourself. And I think this is really important. Let's just make that the goal for today. Be curious about how the language you use about yourself can be kinder. I am sending you so much love. Thank you for joining me for our Well and Happy Reset, Day 4, Understanding the Why Beneath the Why. I hope you have a great day today, living well and happy.